Welcome to Kids Academy.
Hello, boys and girls. Today, we are going to talk about laws, rights, and responsibilities. Citizens have rights, or special things that people are allowed to do. But rights do not allow people to do whatever they want. Government leaders create laws to make sure this doesn't happen. Laws are a set of rules that protect people and the things they own. In the United States of America, citizens have freedom of speech. People have the right to talk about important things and share their opinions. But they still have to obey the laws. It is part of a citizen's responsibility to follow the law. A responsibility is a duty, or something that people must do. Citizens also have the right to buy the things that they need or want. They cannot just take them. That is against the law. Laws help citizens live safely and fairly with one another. Let's review. Rights are special things that citizens are allowed to do. Laws are a set of rules that protect people and the things they own. The government creates laws to make sure that people don't do whatever they want. This keeps citizens and their property safe. It is part of a citizen's responsibility to follow the law. A responsibility is a duty or something that people must do.
We start.
Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth 102 and I'll be talking about my topic, which is law as social order and forms of social groups. Well, let's start with what is social order? Order is a fundamental concept in sociology that refers to a way of various components of society work together to maintain status. They include social structure and institutions. The law, then we know what is law. The law performs the function of the regulation of social relations and setting common rules which are acceptable for the community or society at large. Therefore, people accept laws to maintain the social order and live according to the rules set by the law. Then I'll just say a few things about the law. Law plays an important indirect role in regard to a social change by shaping a direct impact on society. For example, a law setting to compulsory education system. Second, on the other hand, the law impacts in many cases indirect the basic social institution in manner constituting a direct relationship between law and social change. For example, a law designed to prohibit polygamy. Then I'll say the relationship between law and society. Theorists have traditionally maintained that there are certain code view on substantive criminal law. One set of such constraints concerns the sort of behavior that are legitimately be prohibited. It is proper, for example, to criminalize certain kind of action on the ground of most people in one society regards as immoral. The other set of constraint which concerns what is needed in order to establish criminal responsibility is liability independently of the content of a particular status whose violation is in a question. Legal system reflects all the energy of life within any society. Law has the complex vitality of a living organism, which we can say that the law is a social science characterized by the movement and adaptation. Adaptation. Rules are neither created nor applied in a vacuum. On the other hand, it's created and used again and again for many purposes. Rules are intended to move us to a certain direction that we assume it to be good or prohibited move. Direction that we believe is bad. Then I would like then law is a system of rules and guidelines which are enforced through social institution governs behavior, whereas wherever possible. It shapes the political, economic, and society in numerous ways and serves in political mediator of relationship between people. If if harm is criminalized, legislation, the criminal law obviously means which the state can prosecute the perpetrator. Constitutional law provides a framework for creation of law, the protection of human rights, and election of political representatives. Then there are like now I'll talk about forms of social groups. There are like four types. So that is form primary group, social group, and collective and category group.
Okay, first, I'll talk about the primary group. Primary group are characterized by the high amount of cohesive number and identification, face-to-face interaction, and solidarity. Such groups may act as a principal source of socialization for individuals, as primary group may shape an individual attitude, value, and social orientation. Primary group are small, long-term groups. There are three subgroups for primary group. One is kin, that is relative, then close friends, then neighbors. Okay. Then I'll talk about social groups. Social groups are a small group but are a moderate duration. These groups are often formed due to common goals. In this type of group, it is possible for an outgroup member, such as social categories of which one is not a member, to become an in-group member. With the reasonable ease, social groups such as study group or co-workers interact moderately over a prolonged period of time. Next is collective group. In contrast, the spontaneous collective, such as bystanders of the audience of various size, exist only for a very brief period of time. It is very easy to become an inner group member from an outgroup member, and vice versa. Collectively may display in similar actions and outputs. Categories. Categories may consist of individuals that are similar to one another in certain ways. And a member of this group can be permanent in group members or temporary in group. Example of categories are individual with the same ethnicity, gender, religion, or nationality. This group is generally the largest type of group. Thank you for listening. I would like to conclude my speech, and the next will be continued by my friend Bhakti.
Hello everyone, myself Bhakti. Here I will be speaking on the topic nature of society and man's psychical nature. Importance of organic theory. The laws of heredity says that the character and the life of each individual depends upon all mankind and the whole organic world. Each fetus receives a certain degree of energy which is employed afterwards for the adaptations of the individual to the external conditions of his life. The life and organization of society yield the more to his life. Society is controlled by three distinct elements: the present conditions under which it acts, its past, the ideal drawn from the past. Importance of the organic theory. The organic theory always recognizes the existence of connection among the social phenomena and affirm the influence of the past in producing the facts of the present. It has given a new impulse to scientific explanation of social phenomena. Importance of ideals in the social life. A change of ideas can bring about a complete change in social life. The influence of one people upon the life of another is a proof of idealism. The ideal is a force supporting the social life, and this ideal may be the result not merely of our own special experience. Man's psychical nature, extremes of institutionalism and sensationalism. Psychology, up to very recent times, was divided between the two extreme tendencies. The one admits the existence in us of ideas born with us. According to the second theory, each individual is being wholly different from all others. Fusing point of the general views of late experimental psychology. Modern psychology holds to the mean between the two conceptions. It recognizes that the whole psychic life can be explained by the entire experience, external and the internal, by the individual's personal experience, and that by all the humanity. The psychic life of each generation is only the link connecting from the generations with the forecoming. Thank you for listening. The next topic will be continued by my friend.
Hello guys, my name is Bhavika Paryani and I am from group 102. So, mechanical and organic solidity in the theory and the French social scientist Emile Durkheim 1815 to 1917 the social consciousness of a small and undifferentiated societies mechanically and societies differentiated by relatively complex division of labor organic. Mechanical solidarity is a social integration of members of a society who have a common values and beliefs. These common values and beliefs constitute a collective conscience that works internally in the individual members to cause them to cooperate. Because in Durkheim's view, the forces causing members of society to cooperate were much like the integral emergencies causing the molecules to cohere in a solid. He drew upon the terminology of physical science in coining the term mechanical solidity. So, in contrast to the mechanical solidity, organic solidity is a social integration that arises out of the need of individuals for one another services. In a society characterized by organic solidity, there is a relatively greater division of labor, with individuals functioning much like the interdependent but differentiated neurons of a living body. So, society relies less on imposing uniform rules on everyone and more on regulating the relation between different groups and persons, often through the greater use of contracts and laws. So, we will say about what is specialization. Specialization means that if you have it means you focus on the specific aspect for a larger topic, like your specialization is your special subject or skill. If you are planning on studying biology in college, your advisor eventually will ask that your area of specialization will be and we will there is some advantage like increased output when companies and individual within a country focus on a specific task. Overall output and production increases, cheaper product and absolute advantage. There are some examples also, like if a country can produce a banana at a lower cost than oranges, so it can choose to specialize and dedicate all its resources to the production of bananas, using some of them to a trade for oranges. Specialization also occurs with a country borders, as is the case with the United States. So, as we talk about now we will talk about the growth and development. What is the difference between the growth and development? Growth refers to an increase in size evident through physical change. Growth is also used to refer to consisting growth and increase in value. When your child increases in height and weight, then they are experiencing a growth process. On the other hand, development refers to a process of gradual transformation. And the and we will also talk about the examples of growth and development. Physical development includes muscles, coordination and control, growth in size and in proportion. Examples: a child rolling over, lifting its head or setting up. Cognitive development, the ability of the brain or mind to take in a process information. There are growth development is the progression from earlier to later stages in maturation. Example: a fertilized egg develop into a mature tree if the it is the process whereby a tissue, organs and a whole plants are produced. It involves growth and differentiation. The interaction, the environment and the genetic instruction inherited by the cells determine how the plant growth. And what is growth? Growth is the irreversible change in size of cells and plant organs due to the both cell division and enlargement. Enlargement necessitates a change in the elasticity of the cells walls together with an increase in the size and water content of the vacuole. So, thank you. And my further topic will be explained by my friend Rushikesh.
Hello guys, myself Rishikesh Mohite. I'm from Group 102, and my subtopic is society and individuality. So, guys, individuality culture is a society which is characterized by individualism, which is the prioritization or emphasis of the individual over the entire group. Individualistic cultures are oriented around the self being independent instead of identifying with a group mentality. Individualism is the freedom to do what we want as independent people. People are constantly bombarded into doing things mm, that people in authority want them to do. It is important because if everyone was able to uh, pursue their own goals, then we would have a stronger society as a whole. Individualistic culture stress that people should be able to solve problems or accomplish goals on their own without having to rely on assistance from others. This tendency to focus on personal identity and autonomy is pervasive part of a culture that can have a profound influence on how a society functions. The things that make you distinctively you and distinguish you from others are an example of your individuality. An individual or a distinguishing feature, the quality or condition of being individual or different from others. House in others. A house in the suburbs often have no individuality. The three factors focused on the three main themes of individualism are autonomy, mature, self-responsibility, and uniqueness. So friends, I will continue my next topic, that is freedom of the will. So free will is the ability to choose between different possible courses of action, unimpeded. Mhm. Free will is closely linked to the concept of moral responsibilities, praise, guilt, sin, and other judgments, which apply only to actions that are freely chosen. In humans, free will is the power or capacity to choose among alternatives or to act in certain situations independently of natural, social, or the divine restraints. According to John Martin Fisher, human agents do not have free will, but they are still morally responsible for their choices and actions. In a nutshell, Fisher thinks that uh, the king of control needed for moral responsibility is weaker than the kind of control needed for free will. The difference between freedom and free will is like free will is every person's natural bright light to make their own decisions and choose their own path. And freedom is the physical and mental ability to exercise that free will and is also a person's bright light. You can be physically free, but not mentally free from stress, worry, anxiety, etc. In the Bible also, the biblical ground for free will lies in the fall into the sin by Adam and Eve that occurred in occurred in their will fully chosen disobedience to God. Freedom and free will can be treated as one two because the two terms are commonly used as synonyms. The free will that humans enjoy is similar to that exercised by animals, as simple as flies. A scientist has said the idea may simply require free will to be redefined, but tests show that animal behavior is neither completely constrained nor completely free. So, thank you guys.